about Jimbo Fisher getting paid $76.8 million to leave his job and go elsewhere. Just 2 years into a 10-year, $95 million contract, Jimbo Fisher has been fired by Texas A&M after winning a game. How did we get here? Is he coaching again? What do you think Jimbo does? What's the early indicators? And who is Texas A&M hiring?
Well, how we got here to start, Pat, is that Ross Bjork, the athletic director, last night said the program was stuck in neutral. I think that'll be sort of the obituary lead quote on this when we look back on Jimbo Fisher's the end of Jimbo Fisher's run at Texas A&M. I believe they'd lost 9 straight road games. They haven't won a road game since winning at Missouri in mid-2021. And look, Texas A&M's a really interesting case, Pat. They haven't won a league title since 1998 when they were in the Big 12. And that was the only Big 12 title they won their whole time in that league. And this is now 4 consecutive coaches who've coached there who have not won a league title. They have the resources. They have the recruiting base. They certainly have the ambition. And they've spent to redo the stadium and build one of those just exotic practice facilities that's, the size of small European countries. But the results just haven't matched the investment and the ambition. So it's just kind of this fascinating outlier where people keep trying and keep trying. They tried Mike Sherman, who was like the NFL veteran who came back. They tried Kevin Sumlin, who was the hot mid-major coach. They tried Jimbo Fisher, the national championship coach. They tried Dennis Francione, who had had some success at previous stops. So they've kind of hit every archetype of this, and it'll be fascinating to see where they go next.
There's been a lot of names that have been thrown around. Yeah. Nobody's leaving SEC school to go to another SEC school, right? Or is it just?
I wouldn't say it's a guarantee. I mean, look, Dan Mullen left Mississippi State to go to Florida a few years ago. There's, especially with these leagues being as ginormous as they are now, there's tiers. The Alabama job is very different than the South Carolina job, right? And in terms of investment, the Texas A&M job is a top tier SEC job, and it's in the state of Texas. We obviously have Texas coming in now with some competition, but there are football players there in Texas. So I wouldn't rule out them hiring an SEC coach, which obviously the name there that I think some of the money people at Texas A&M are intrigued by is Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin has always been able to move the ball. That was the mystifying thing about Jimbo Fisher's tenure there, is that they never really developed a succinct offensive identity. They finally got the quarterback, I think, at Connor Wegman. He obviously got hurt this year, so we didn't get to see it. So that would certainly be the college football tends to always
Coach Prime
into the best storyline, right?
Coach Prime, wouldn't Coach Prime be the guy?
Coach Prime's interesting. Obviously, he in the state of Texas would be a juggernaut. They are 4-6 right now. Like the Coach Prime is undefeated, going to win a Super Bowl sort of narrative has quelled down a little bit. Now look, he inherited a terrible roster and had to completely reinvent it. So them having some sort of inherent struggles here isn't a big surprise. What he's done for that university and a program that was just a carcass on the side of the road for a generation has been remarkable. Is he the guy who's going to you are hiring a coach to win a national title? Is Deion Sanders that guy? We'll see. He's certainly invigorated them, and he certainly brought a lot of eyeballs to them and made them the story of the season in college football. But
could you imagine him walking into that team meeting and saying, "I look around, I see a lot of Louis luggage here already. That's good news. I got some that I'm already potentially bringing, and I've heard about Jimbo's classes and how much money we get just to recruit seniors in high school as well. I mean, this is a whole new animal. I think a lot of people would enjoy the hell out of that, but Texas A&M has to make the best decision for them. And also, I think Coach Prime has said Colorado, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Texas A&M, they're paying $76.8 million to a guy to leave. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what they're going to pay a guy to come in. That'll be a fascinating thing. Go ahead, AJ.
So, Pete, I'm sure they're not going to be hesitant, but are any other schools going to be hesitant to give these giant long-term contracts to some of these coaches coming in? Like A&M, they know they're going to pay Jimbo, and then they have to pay the next guy a very similar contract they gave him, right?
Jimmy Sexton is a dog.
Yes.
He remains undefeated.
Dog.
So I really feel like it's a great question, AJ, because fiscal austerity is not exactly something that A&M's overlords can claim today, especially because the stuck at neutral, they weren't exactly a roaring juggernaut. They had one good season under Jimbo. They went 9-1 in that COVID year. Look, and it was, I believe they were all SEC games in that year. Yes, I believe that was the case in 2020. So they came in 5th in the CFP that year, and we're an elite team that had an argument at the end. I believe Notre Dame got in ahead of them. But that was really the 1 year payoff, and he had signed an initial historic 10-year $75 million deal when he went there 6 years ago. So to re-extend it, certainly in hindsight, seems like it was fiscally irresponsible. But look, in terms of like, will schools change their behavior? These schools want to win so bad, and they didn't want to lose Jimbo Fisher to LSU. That was the Orgeron era was sputtering out at the time, and there was a feeling that Scott Woodward, the AD there, who had hired him at A&M, could have gone and done that. So it was sort of a preemptive strike, and with a lot of college football decisions that go awry, it was made probably with more emotion than with pragmatism.
Jimmy Sexton, LSU, hey, they're getting hungry. Yeah. Jimmy, LSU's got the money down there, That's awesome.
Do I see this ending, AJ, to answer your question? No, because people want to win, and there's a finite talent pool that can win in coaching at that level.
That's fascinating to me. Just Jimmy Sexton, just that name in general. I've gotten to know the man. I've gotten to shake hands. I got to do business with him. Mm-hmm. I got a chance to watch him work. And then you do a little bit of research. It's like, is this the greatest agent of all time? And he's just this Southern gentleman. Mm-hmm. Hey, how's it going, boys? We got this going on. Hey, we got to do this. We're going to do that. How much is it you want to fire him? $76.8 million. I think that's what we'll do. What a dog, dude. Hey, Jimmy, way to go. Both of you, Jimbo and Jimmy.
Good work, James.
Jimbo and Jimmy.